I met my wife in church, and from the very first moment, it felt like destiny. She was everything I ever wanted in a partner: kind, intelligent, deeply spiritual, and breathtakingly beautiful. We started as friends, and over time, our connection grew into something neither of us could deny. After 3 years of dating, we decided to get married, even though I was still building my career and didn't have much to offer materially. Our wedding day was simple but magical. Surrounded by close family and friends, we exchanged vows with promises to stick together no matter what life threw at us. Those were challenging times. We faced financial struggles that would test any marriage. We shared a tiny apartment, budgeting every naira, and often went to bed with prayers that things would get better. Despite everything, we had each other, and that was enough. Or so I thought. As a man, I carried the burden of wanting to provide for my family. I knew my wife loved me deeply, but I couldn't shake the feeling of inadequacy. A man without money is not always valued. It's a truth society often reminds us of in subtle and overt ways. Still, I pressed on, trying to grow my small business, determined to make something of myself. About a year into our marriage, everything changed. My wife landed a prestigious job with a multinational company. The salary was more than enough to cover our bills and even save for the future. She was ecstatic, and I was genuinely happy for her. But her new role came with longer hours, frequent trips, and late-night calls. I assured her I would support her in every way, even though a small voice inside me whispered insecurities I tried to ignore. As the months passed, I began to notice subtle changes. One evening, a particular man often dropped her off from work. Curious, I asked her about him. "Oh, that's my team lead," she said casually. "He's been helping me navigate the corporate world. It's nothing to worry about." Her explanation seemed reasonable, and I trusted her completely. She was my partner, my everything. But then, her phone started ringing more frequently at odd hours. When I asked, she always said it was work-related. I believed her because why wouldn't I? She was hardworking and dedicated, qualities I admired deeply. Meanwhile, my business began to pick up. After years of hard work and prayers, I finally started seeing progress. I expanded my network, signed a few big clients, and began earning enough to support us comfortably. We were soon blessed with 2 beautiful children, a boy who resembled her and a girl who looked just like me. Our home was filled with laughter, the pitter-patter of tiny feet, and the warmth of family. On the surface, everything seemed perfect. Yet, deep inside, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. As my financial situation improved, I suggested that my wife quit her demanding job. "I can take care of us now," I told her. "You've done so much, and I want you to rest." But she refused, saying she wanted to maintain her independence. "I don't want to be idle," she said. I respected her decision but couldn't ignore the lingering doubts that gnawed at me. A turning point came when we decided to relocate abroad. It was an exciting plan, a fresh start for our family and new opportunities for the children. My wife was thrilled about the idea, and we began preparing, buying food items, and making arrangements. However, part of the process involved getting some medical tests done. That's when everything started to unravel. I noticed my wife growing distant. Whenever I reminded her about the tests, she would find an excuse to avoid them. "I'll do it next week," she'd say, but the weeks turned into months. We were running out of time, so I told her I would take the kids to the lab in the next 3 days, and she agreed. After I decided to take the kids for the test myself, I noticed her once lively demeanor became subdued. She was moody, her eyes clouded with something I couldn't place. "Is everything okay?" I asked repeatedly, but she always attributed her behavior to work stress. "Maybe you should stop working," I suggested gently. She snapped, "No, I'm fine. Just let it be." One fateful morning, our lives changed forever. The children went to school as usual. Around midday, I received a frantic call from their school. My daughter was vomiting blood and had been rushed to the hospital. Panicking, I called my wife, but her phone went unanswered. I raced to the school, only to be told she was already at the hospital. By the time I got there, it was too late. My beautiful little girl was gone. The doctor explained it was food poisoning, but the words barely registered. I was numb. How did this happen? Was it an accident? Or was there something more sinister at play? As I sat in the sterile hospital room, staring at my daughter's lifeless body, my mind spiraled with questions. My wife finally arrived, her face pale and eyes swollen with tears. "How could this happen?" I demanded. She broke down, unable to offer any explanation. In the days that followed, the house felt unbearably quiet. The once joyful laughter of my children was replaced by an oppressive silence. I couldn't look at my wife without feeling a mix of anger, grief, and confusion. Something didn't add up, and I was determined to uncover the truth. What had we eaten? Where had the food come from? And why was my wife so reluctant to address these questions? The love of my life now felt like a stranger, and I couldn't help but wonder if she was hiding something that could shatter the remnant of our family. To be continued.